All right, it's January 28th, 2026, and we've got a lot to unpack today. We're seeing some major moves in the markets, especially around crypto and AI. We're talking about surging prices on one side and some pretty serious growing pains on the other. So let's just get right into it.
Okay, here's the game plan for today. We're kicking things off with crypto. We'll cover price, regulation, the whole deal. Then we'll jump over to AI, looking at its adoption and, some of the friction it's causing. And we'll finish things up with a quick snapshot of the wider corporate and economic landscape.
All right, let's dive into our first section, the crypto world. Right now, there are really two huge stories playing out side by side. You've got this powerful price rally, and at the same time, regulators around the globe are still trying to figure out what to do with it all. And here it is, the number that's got everyone's attention. Bitcoin is knocking on the door of $90,000. That is a huge psychological level. And believe me, every trader is glued to their screen right now.
So you might be asking, what's driving this thing? Well, a big piece of the puzzle seems to be recent remarks from former President Trump, where he kind of downplayed concerns about the US dollar. And, it's a classic playbook. When traders get nervous about the dollar, they often rotate into assets like Bitcoin as a store of value. And that seems to be exactly what's happening here.
And speaking of regulation, we're seeing two completely different stories play out. On one hand, you've got the UK, where the Financial Conduct Authority is trying to create one big, unified rulebook for the whole country. But then on the other hand, look at the US. It's this patchwork of state-level rules. Like in Arizona, they're pushing a bill to make crypto exempt from property taxes. It's a real clash of styles, one unified plan versus a 50-state scramble.
Okay, this is a perfect example of crypto market mechanics at work. We had these winter storms, right? They knocked some mining farms offline. That means the total network hash rate, basically its computing power, went down. Now, if you're a miner who's still running, that's great news. Less competition means it's easier for you to find the next block and get that reward. Your operation just got more profitable, and boom, that's why we're seeing their stocks go up. All right, let's move on from just the price. We're going to dig a little deeper now into the crypto infrastructure and, of course, security, because while the big money is piling in, so are some pretty serious new threats. And here's a perfect example of what I mean by big money getting involved. WisdomTree, a huge name in asset management, is expanding its tokenized funds, and now they're bringing them to the Solana blockchain. The key thing here is that they're not just betting on one horse. This multi-chain strategy, it tells you that the institutional world is getting really serious about this whole tokenization thing. And the innovation isn't just happening at the top. It's happening at the core protocol level. Check this out. A brand new standard, ERC 8004, is about to go live on Ethereum. What does it do? It's built to let AI agents work right on the blockchain, on their own. This is a huge deal. We're literally watching the two biggest forces in tech, AI and crypto, start to merge. But, when these two worlds collide, it's not all good news. There's a darker side. Security teams are sounding the alarm about a really sophisticated new hack method, and it's linked to North Korean groups. Here's how it works. They use AI to create a deepfake of a coworker, jump on a video call, and trick employees in the crypto space into giving them access. It's social engineering on a whole new level, and frankly, it's pretty scary. And make no mistake, there are real-world consequences for this stuff. A Chinese national just got hit with a 46-month prison sentence. Why? For running a $37 million crypto scam that was targeting Americans. This is a really clear message that regulators and law enforcement are not messing around. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about AI. Because honestly, the biggest story in AI right now isn't just about its amazing capabilities, it's about the friction. It's about the real-world headaches companies are facing when they actually try to implement it. And this quote from Sarah Fryer, the CFO at OpenAI, just nails it. She says there's a mismatch between what AI can do and the actual value companies are getting out of it. The tech is incredible, no doubt, but turning that potential into actual dollars and cents, that's proving to be a lot harder than a lot of people thought. It's this value gap that's the real challenge. And the friction isn't just on the balance sheet, it's physical. It's about real estate. These giant AI data centers need a place to go, and local communities are starting to push back. They're worried about the noise, the massive energy consumption. Sound familiar? It should. This is the exact same playbook we saw with Bitcoin mining operations a few years ago. Same debate, just a different technology. But despite all those challenges, AI is definitely weaving its way into our daily work lives.
For example, the CEO of SAP is betting that pretty soon we'll be talking to our software more than we type. And get this, LinkedIn is rolling out an AI tool that can actually flag if the skills you list on your profile are, well, legit. So you might want to double check your profile.
Okay, for our last section, let's pull back for a wider view. We're going to do a quick rapid-fire round of some other big corporate and economic news you should have on your radar.
First up, UPS is taking a big hit to the tune of $137 million. This is a direct result of their decision to ground their MD-11 fleet for good after a crash. Switching over to the startup world, the venture capital is still flowing. A pet wellness startup called Snout just locked down a massive $110 million funding round. That's a mix of both debt and equity.
And looking at the wider economy, the White House thinks we're in for the biggest tax refund season ever. Meanwhile, over in commodities, it's a bit of a mixed picture. Corn prices are down a bit, but sugar prices, they're climbing. And a lot of traders are pointing to a rally in this Brazilian real as the reason why.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, it's pretty clear, right? AI and crypto are these two titanic forces, and they're running on parallel tracks. They share a lot of the same hype, but also a lot of the same headaches. Which leads us to the one big question we should all be thinking about. As these two worlds keep getting closer and closer, where is the next big market shock, good or bad, going to come from? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.